Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where we talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Enemy Within. A lot of interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, you had that, let's just talk about the Anna situation. It's like from the beginning, you could tell what she was doing, like, oh yeah, I feel, she's kind of dealing with everything, and it's like, I think I need to work. Let me come work for your team. I'm like, dude, I know exactly what you're doing. That's messed up. And she's going like, oh, the memorial service for all the people that died in the bombing, my colleagues and stuff. I'm like, dude, you see how messed up that is? You're lying to his face about, it's because it's like, you're part of the reason why they're dead. And it's just the look, you playing the victim is crazy. It's like that, you gotta applaud her, her deception skills, because that's crazy. Initially, Will was like, I don't think so. You take time you need. I'm like, yes, because the last thing you want is her on the team, or at least doing anything work related with you guys. Because she's like, oh, the CIA, lends out analysts all the time. I know Tall's accounts and stuff like that. It's like, dude. But Will ends up kind of caving in later on because it's like, because from what he can understand, like he lost someone important to him kind of because of this whole Tall situation. And so for him, he understands what it's like, wanting to work, needing to do something to keep your mind focused. She feels, uneasy and, off edge a little bit. And it's just kind of like all part of the plan and everything. I'm going to take this even a step further, and I believe Anna's going to create like a romantic situation between her and Will. Maybe not. Maybe it will just stop with the whole like, oh, we're going to work together thing. Because I think the ultimate like treachery in all of this would be for her to get close to Will. I mean, to be fair, it's probably I feel like that's the way it'll probably go about, but obviously he'll probably have hesitations at first because he hasn't been with anyone since Lane, and so it's kind of like, losing her is still such a fresh wound that he probably would feel bad about it, but then maybe eventually something will happen and make him like, no, I'm okay with this, and gets closer to Anna, and that ultimately just leads to everything kind of getting worse and worse, potentially her getting access to more and more information about what's going on. Like I said, that's potential. Like I get the feeling like it could also just, like I said, be a situation of she just kind of a part of the team and everything, which is so interesting because like Will makes it a point to be like, oh, Erica, you're not part of the team, which she's like, oh yeah, you made that pretty clear, which is interesting because Erica, the person you're pushing away from the team, is probably the one you should trust more than the lady that you trust a lot that you're bringing into the team. So it's just ironic, honesty, just the art of deception, man. It's crazy. Lies, and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Sorry. It was just kind of interesting, so that's why I kind of wanted to talk about that first. But it doesn't even just stop there. The episode is so interesting too because this is about stopping a cartel, and there's like this ambassador who's connected to it because it's like, and it was so interesting because it's like there's only a set number of people who know the coordinates to where like these particular routes, like in particular case, like the DEA takes and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, like they just happen to find them. So it's like, okay, so someone amongst this group had to do it. And, Erica looks at it and figures out it's this Gordon dude. So it's like, okay, so how do we, we have to track Gordon and we can, follow this all the way back to the bad guys and stuff like that. But lo and behold, because we never found out everyone that's connected to all of this, because we heard a name, Mateo, and that's about it. We never, it was also, well, I'll dive into that into a second, but what I thought was interesting is that Erica's like, oh, we're going to bring in the wife to do this, which Daniel was super, super against, because he's like, no, for one, it's such little prep time, she's a civilian, but for Erica, it's like, she's used to kind of handling rooms like this, because she's had to be, kind of in the limelight, and this, not in the limelight, almost like that's Hollywood or anything like that, but more like she's been a public figure, for a while because her husband's been connected to this governmental world. So it's kind of like, so she knows how to act around people. Daniel was super against it, but Will sided with Erica in this regard because just like Erica wants to capture Tall, so she'll do anything to do it. And that's what Will did. Like for him, it's like this was a step closer to capturing Tall. And so for him, I don't think it's just Erica being there, it's because for the first time in such a long time, you're so close, and for him, it's revenge, and like, it's seeping in, and I guess you could also make the argument that Erica's bringing up some good points, and that she's kind of rubbing off on him in a bad way, and essentially, so we'll see in that regard. But I loved Erica being the one that ends up talking to Elizabeth. And what I thought was so well done about it too is because when Erica was talking to her, she was just talking to herself. She was talking about herself because she's literally in the exact same situation of like, oh, the fact of the matter is you don't want to believe this, but the fact of the matter is this is all about your son. Because it is kind of messed up because like the father kind of implement, like you can, in the long run, you can almost look at it like this, but basically the dad, Gordon, he kind of got his son involved in this because he was using his son's phone to kind of make all these like, you know, actions and stuff like that, because apparently he's been working for this cartel for years. It's not like it's just a recent thing, because when I saw the title of the episode, like the ambassador's wife, I was like, oh, that's why he's working with them, because they must have kidnapped his wife. And it's like, no, his wife's right there. It's like, maybe I didn't know. It's like, no, it's like he was just straight up a bad dude just taking advantage of the situation. So, but you know, obviously Elizabeth was reluctant to do this, but then you have Erica kind of twisting it a little bit to be like, oh, don't you love your son? Kind of almost questioning her love for her son, because it's like the fact of the matter is, if you really love your son, you do whatever it takes. You know, the fact of the matter is, yes, it would kind of suck that things aren't going to work well. People will turn against you when this is all said and done. Like, obviously, she was talking more so of her personal experience, but it's kind of like, the fact is, if you love your son, when she's like, I do, then you would do this. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Like I said, because that conversation she's having, you know, Erica's having with Elizabeth is the same conversation she had with herself in that moment. Because I was like, if it's for my child, I don't care. Like, she was hesitant. She was trying to find a way out of it. But Tall kind of pushed her hand. And it's like, no, if it means protecting my daughter, I don't care. Damn be the consequences, you know? So, and that's the hardships of being a mom. It's like one mom talking to another, a mom that's been through this same exact situation. Even being like, when it's all said and done, your son may hate you. You know, but the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, he will realize that everything you have done is for his sake. Yes, he loves his dad, and he probably won't want to believe all the terrible things that are being said, because even Elizabeth didn't want to believe it. It was so interesting because, like, you know, you had Erica being like, you know, on some level, you know, things weren't quite 100% right, but the fact of the matter is, because obviously it's true, because you and your husband live in two different places, so it's kind of like there's something there you just weren't willing to kind of pick at it. She even calls it out later on, like Elizabeth is like, I've always known, but I just didn't want to know, and now things kind of come down to this, because she blames herself because she feels like, oh, this all came to a head, but it's like, no, the fact of the matter is, like, you know, we'll try to tell her, it's like, no, things came down to this because of him. This wasn't even on you. You were trying to look out for your son, you know, because it's a hard situation. Because she almost got away with it, because I was like, because obviously she was freaking out, and Erica was like, no, I'm going to be there to talk you through it. Once again, Will reminded her she's not part of the team and everything, like I said earlier. But for Erica, it's like, no, I know I'm not part of this team. I don't want to be part of your team. Like, I think for Erica, it's like, you're using me, I'm using you too. Like, the fact of the matter is, I just want Tall. I don't care how I have to go about it. Even if I have to work with you, if it means me getting Tall, then I'll do whatever it takes, essentially. And we'll kind of go into that Hannah situation in a little bit. But I thought it was so interesting. She was able to kind of calm, you know, her down, like, take the 5 seconds. You know, and that was so interesting. Like, you know what? It's the worst thing essentially for a liar. It's like fear is a liar's worst enemy. It's because, like, basically you got to let the fear kind of just wash over you, you know, and kind of own it and make it your own power, essentially, because, you know, because it's like, you're going to see your husband, you're going to run. And he kept looking at her, thinking something was she was acting a little off and stuff like that. I mean, because it's hard to look at the man that you love and now knowing that all the dirty details of, like, him working with the cartel and stuff like that, selling out information that's got people killed. It's like, it's hard. It's not a situation, you know, especially someone who isn't well trained. Of course, you're not going to be able to flip the switch like that, you know? But like I said, she almost got away with it. Like I said, if she probably had more prep time and she was more trained, she probably would have been able to be like, oh yeah, like, probably, like, persuade him. I thought that was going to happen, but it's like, no, he ended up finding out, like, wait, you were looking at these files and stuff like that. This is a tracker. They found out about all of this, you know. But essentially, I didn't expect the whole aspect of her pulling a gun out on him. And obviously her son walks down during that. Obviously the police are already there and involved in everything. But it's crazy because it's like the gun ends up going off in a struggle. And that's got to be hard because it's like your son's just seeing you out of nowhere pulling a gun out, shooting his dad. So obviously, like, at the end of the episode, he's with his grandparents, and, Elizabeth, obviously they were like, no, it was self-defense. The fact of the matter is, it wasn't like she outright did this. So turns out Gordon ended up dying. So that lead, yeah, it worked out in a way because they ended up removing the situation. So it's like, yeah, Tall no longer has the inside. Well, the cartel no longer has an inside person, and the same thing for Tall in that regard. But it's like, it didn't go perfect. It's not like this was necessarily a win. It's kind of like for Will, it's like, I'll take whatever win I can if it's a blow against, Tall. But, Daniel's like, the fact of the matter is, this isn't us. That's some CIA tactics. That's just not how we do it. Because it's like, would you have made that same move before you met Erica like 2 weeks ago? And he's like, we were not even this close to Tall 2 weeks ago. So it's a complicated situation in that regard. What's also interesting is we got introduced to Jacqueline. I'm assuming the fact that he went out of the way to introduce her makes me think like we might be seeing her kind of more officially joining the team. It seems like she doesn't know everything that's going down with the whole Erica situation. But what was interesting is I just thought about this really quickly too. I was like, oh yeah, I meant to talk about it earlier too when I brought up the whole like Anna situation. It was all like, oh yeah, let's not forget Kate has a thing for Will too, and that's going to turn complicated. I hope it doesn't turn into a sad situation like Kate ends up being the one that discovers what Anna's up to, and Anna ends up killing Kate, and so it just, it's a situation like that. I hope it's not. That would suck ass. I mean, hell, if we're lucky, like maybe Kate will kind of confess how she feels about Will, and maybe that could, if they end up going down the route of maybe a Will and Anna situation, that, Kate can kind of pull him away from like kind of falling into that trap potentially. Maybe, I don't know. What's also interesting too, the whole Nimic situation, it's like, oh yeah, that is a suicide. I guess the way things are kind of, I guess they were just assuming like he snuck something in like that, like even, I don't know. I mean, just kind of getting labeled as a suicide, so I thought it was interesting. Also, like, once again, Erica being very good at what she does. I should have talked about this all at the beginning, was like how she ended up, she kind of got that Sean Spencer thing going on from Psych, where it's like he's very good at noticing details. She's very good at like picking up on things and kind of immediately inferring just like this, picking up little details as she's walking through the room. It's like she's got a keen eye for that stuff. But getting back to what I was saying before, which was, right, Jacqueline. There seemed like there might be some history there, like between her, Jason, and maybe Will, like maybe they knew each other back in the day or something like that. Because it seems like Jacqueline in particular stays like training academy people. It seems like she's in a situation where she could be wherever she wants to, but she stays there for whatever reason. Maybe it's something from their past or something like that. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe just like she likes teaching, the up and comers, like, but either way. The fact is, we got a nice introduction to her like this, even the whole part of her cutting that device, cutting the power to the vehicle that was connected to the device that was blocking all their feeds. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was going to go down a lot more. Like, I thought she was going to have to deal with her husband and kind of be panicking because she couldn't be in contact with anyone. But it's like, no, they were able to get the feeds back. I mean, to be fair, the feeds getting cut out like that just kind of probably made it so it's like, yeah, she needed Erica's help and stuff like that. So it's hard to say whether it really worked out in that regard or not. But still, I'm interested to see if we get to see more of Jacqueline or not. But another side of this situation is the whole Hannah situation. Like, obviously, Will is like, yes, I promise to look after your daughter, and she's getting protection. And she's like, no, I want to see my daughter. The fact of the matter is, at the very least, I want to talk to her. But then, Will's like, I'm not going to bend to you. Will give you whatever you want. Dude, this whole situation doesn't work like that. And he's trying to walk away. And she's like, what do you think about him? What do you remember about Lane? Those moments when you're lying in bed and all the distractions are wiped away, what do you think about when it comes to Lane? For Erica, she has this particular memory of her with Hannah, and she's been holding on to it, living in that moment for the past 3 years because she figured I'd never see my little girl's face again. And now she got that chance. She saw Hannah's face. She heard her voice, seen her all grown up. And it's like, I think it sparked something. It inspired her because, in a sense of like, it's real. It's something that I couldn't even imagine. Something I didn't think was tangible. It's right here in front of me. Like, Hannah's there, and I have the opportunity, because for her, it's like, but I broke her heart. I can tell I broke her heart, and I just need an opportunity to fix it. That's what Erica wants. And, and you can tell Will is sympathetic because, like, even throughout the entire episode, when he's listening to her talk, you can tell with what Will knows about Erica now, knowing about why she did everything, you can read into her words a lot more because no one else, because I think that's another reason why Will does what he does too, is like he has a context that no one else on the team does. Like, Erica's only told him that, and he hasn't gone and told the other team because I think there is also a part of Will that's like, I don't know if I believe Erica, I don't know if I trust Erica 100%, but I think when he hears her words, he does believe her, understand her, why she did what she did. And I think that's why he's not as harsh against her as the others are, because he understands like why she's doing all this. All of this is for her to get back to her daughter. And but the thing is, he tried to call Hannah and was like, yep, she didn't pick up, voicemail, did it again. And she's like, why are you lying to me? And it's like, because Hannah didn't want to see her mom. Like, she did answer, but she didn't want to see her mom. And it's so interesting. You can make the argument Will did that because it's self-preservation in the regard of like, it keeps everything. It keeps Erica, like, as long as you keep stonewalling Erica, she'll keep asking about Hannah, sure, but at the very least, it keeps her in a good mood, and at the very least, she's like, hey, I'll continue working with you, because I guess the moment she finds out about Hannah not wanting to see her, she might blow up and be like, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this anymore if Hannah's not going to see me, so I get no benefit from it. That might be the thought, but to be fair, like, a big motivation for Erica is revenge as well, so there's that. But I think it's interesting too, because it's like, but I do think that, it is, you could make it about that, but I think it is like just simply because what Will is sympathetic, and he goes, he didn't want to hurt her feelings. It's like the last thing you want to know is that the person that you love, that you haven't seen for 3 years, that you care about, your child, doesn't want to see you because she's so angry. But when it was all said and done, Erica did leave her a message being like, the fact is, if you don't want to see me, you don't have to see me. I completely understand, and I won't love you and single ounce less. Just know that I love you. And it's just, and you can see Hannah replaying the message, no telling how many times she listened to that message, So it's going to be interesting to see ultimately what Hannah does, but I'm very interested to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.